Have you ever felt betrayed by someone you trusted deeply? Maybe it was a friend, a partner, or even a family member. That gut-wrenching feeling of being let down, hurt, or abandoned can be one of the most painful experiences in life. But what if I told you that certain betrayals should never be forgiven? In this video, we're diving into the 7 most profound betrayals in relationships. Betrayals that reveal a person's true character and can leave lasting scars. Whether it's disloyalty, lies, public humiliation, or envy, these actions go far beyond a simple mistake. Understanding these betrayals can help you protect your peace, set stronger boundaries, and stop repeating harmful patterns. By the end of this video, you'll have a deeper understanding of why some betrayals are simply unforgivable and how recognizing them can change the way you approach relationships. So if you've ever questioned someone's loyalty or wondered if you've been manipulated by someone you trust, stay tuned. You won't want to miss these crucial insights that could reshape your approach to love, trust, and personal boundaries forever. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. 1. Disloyalty. Disloyalty is one of the deepest and most emotionally devastating betrayals a person can face. It's not merely a failure to stand by someone in times of hardship, but a brutal exposure of one's true character. When someone shows disloyalty, it reveals so much about who they are at their core. It speaks volumes about their values, priorities, and their willingness, or lack thereof, to support you in moments that matter the most. Disloyalty often doesn't announce itself with loud, dramatic actions. No, it can slip into your life quietly, creeping in through the smallest gestures or, worse, through the absence of any action at all. It might look like a friend who turns their back when you're going through something incredibly difficult, a partner who withdraws when you're at your most vulnerable, or a family member who simply doesn't show up when you need them the most. The worst part is that these forms of disloyalty don't always come with apologies or even explanations. Sometimes, the neglect is subtle but crushing. The refusal to act when the situation demands courage and action speaks volumes about their true feelings. It's a choice, an unmistakable choice, not to be there for you when they should have been. In the moments where you needed someone to lend a hand, share your burden, or just be present, they decided, consciously or unconsciously, that you weren't worth the effort, the time, or the emotional energy it would take to show up for you. It's a heartbreaking realization that, despite everything you may have given them, your love, your trust, your support, they couldn't find it in themselves to do the same for you when you were at your lowest. And that's the thing about disloyalty. It's not just the hurt of being abandoned. It's the betrayal of the unspoken agreement that, in relationships, whether they be romantic, familial, or platonic, loyalty is supposed to be the bedrock. When you find yourself alone in a time of need, and the people you thought you could rely on don't come through, it feels like a seismic shift. Their absence isn't just a gap, it's a loud, painful message. It screams that you, your needs, and your struggles aren't important enough for them to be there. It's an injury to the soul, one that shakes your trust in others and leaves scars that don't always heal. What stings the most is knowing that this wasn't a mistake. This wasn't an accident or an oversight. No, this was a conscious decision they made, a choice to walk away, to ignore your pain, to turn their back when you needed them most. In these moments, it's difficult not to question everything you thought you knew about that person. How could they be the same person you once trusted? How could someone who once meant so much to you be the one to break your heart? You begin to understand, in painful clarity, that their disloyalty isn't a reflection of you, but of them. It shows you their lack of empathy, their inability to step outside of their world and into yours when it matters most. And though their betrayal may not have been loud, it was heavy. It lingered in your heart, in your mind, in your very being. It has a ripple effect, touching every other part of your life. Your ability to trust, your ability to love freely, and your ability to believe in the goodness of others. Disloyalty, in all its forms, isn't just the absence of support. It's the absence of love, empathy, and respect. It's a harsh, often soul-crushing reminder that not everyone close to you will stay. Not everyone will care for you the way you care for them. But more importantly, it teaches you the value of loyalty. It shows you that the people who show up for you, who stick by you even when it's hard, are the ones who truly deserve your time, energy, and heart. Because true loyalty doesn't ask for anything in return. It is unconditional, unwavering, and always present, especially when it matters the most. 2. Lies. Lies are not just simple deceptions. They are insidious, like slow-acting poison that weaves its way into every part of your existence. A lie isn't just a false statement. It's a deliberate distortion of reality itself. It takes something pure and honest, your understanding of the world, your trust in others, and warps it, leaving you unable to see the truth. A lie clouds your judgment, making it nearly impossible to make informed decisions because you're left second-guessing everything around you. You start questioning not only the words of others, but, more tragically, your instincts and perceptions. It shakes your confidence, making you feel like you're walking on unstable ground, unsure of what to trust. When lies become a pattern, when they aren't just occasional slip-ups, but rather a continuous stream of falsehoods, it becomes something much more devastating. It's no longer just a moment of dishonesty. It's a betrayal, a systematic undermining of the very foundation of trust that any relationship, whether romantic, familial, or friendship, needs to survive. It is in these repeated lies that the true nature of the person is revealed. What might have started as small white lies soon becomes an overwhelming web of deceit, where every word is questioned and every promise feels empty. It's not just a mistake anymore. It's a chronic pattern of disrespect for you, your well-being, and the truth itself. The worst part is, lies don't just hurt. They break. They break your ability to believe in others, to trust again. They chip away at your sense of security, leaving you vulnerable and uncertain. You begin to feel as though you are constantly walking on eggshells, never knowing when the next lie will surface, what truth will be twisted, or which promises will be broken next. It feels like living in a fog, where nothing is certain, and everything feels like a potential illusion. It's like you're fighting an invisible enemy that you can never quite face, because the enemy is the very person who you once trusted the most. And it's not just about the pain of betrayal. It's the emotional toll, the overwhelming weight of carrying the burden of these lies. It's the endless cycle of doubt and disbelief. You start to feel like you're losing yourself, like you're constantly questioning your worth, your judgment. The realization that someone has chosen to lie to you, time and time again, shakes you to the core. It shakes your very belief in human decency, in the idea that people you love should treat you with respect and honesty. It feels like your heart has been slowly chipped away, piece by piece, until you don't even recognize the person you've become. How could someone who claims to care for you betray you like this? How do you keep going when the very foundation of your relationship is built on lies? If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. A person who lies consistently isn't just unreliable. They aren't simply someone who makes mistakes. They are fundamentally untrustworthy. Their words become nothing more than hollow promises, and their actions are nothing more than empty gestures. They are a person who does not value you, your emotions, or your trust. To them, truth seems optional, a mere inconvenience to be ignored for their convenience. But for you, the one who is left in the wake of their dishonesty, the pain runs deep. It feels like a betrayal of your soul, like your entire perception of the world and the people in it has been shattered. And the longer the lies continue, the harder it is to rebuild that trust, to even believe that something real can emerge from the rubble they've left behind. The emotional scars from being lied to can last far longer than the lies themselves. They linger, affecting how you view yourself and your relationships moving forward. You find yourself doubting every connection you make, wondering if it's only a matter of time before the next person comes into your life and starts weaving their web of deception. The person who lies is not just deceiving you. They are stealing your peace, your sense of self, and your trust in the world. Lies hurt in ways that words alone can't fully express. They break you down, leaving you questioning everything and everyone you once believed in. Ultimately, lies don't just break relationships. They can break you, too. They make you lose faith in people, in love, and in the idea of trust ever being genuine again. You are left wondering how something so pure, so beautiful, could be so corrupted by someone you once believed in. It leaves a wound that may never fully heal, a scar that marks your soul in ways that can never truly be erased. And as much as you want to move forward, the pain lingers, reminding you that once the truth is shattered, it's never the same again. 3. Public humiliation. Public humiliation, especially when it comes from someone you trust, is a betrayal so profound that it can feel like a knife to the heart. It goes far beyond the surface level of embarrassment. It shakes the very core of who you are, leaving deep emotional scars that are not easily healed. There is a world of difference between being criticized in private, where there is space for understanding and possibly reconciliation, and having your flaws exposed to the world for the sake of someone else's amusement. When someone you love and trust chooses to humiliate you publicly, they are not simply pointing out your mistakes or offering constructive criticism. They are tearing down your sense of dignity and self-worth in front of others, often in ways that are both cruel and calculated. Imagine being in a room full of people, your heart racing as you feel the weight of eyes on you. Maybe it starts with a small comment, seemingly harmless on the surface, but then it escalates into mockery. Your flaws, weaknesses, or embarrassing moments becoming the focus of everyone's attention. What began as a casual joke now feels like an attack on your very identity, and the sting of it cuts deep. It is one thing to feel small and vulnerable in a private, intimate conversation, but to be made to feel insignificant in front of a group of people, perhaps even strangers, is an experience unlike any other. It's humiliating. It's painful. And it stays with you long after the moment has passed. I can't help but feel that when someone we trust chooses to publicly humiliate us, they are doing more than just embarrassing us. They are diminishing our very existence. It's like they are taking pieces of our spirit and throwing them away, leaving us feeling exposed, fragile, and unworthy of respect. What makes it even more devastating is the fact that it's often disguised as humor. The person may say, "Oh, I was just kidding," or "It's all in good fun," but we know deep down that there was nothing lighthearted or playful about it. It wasn't a joke, it was an act of emotional manipulation. By making you the butt of their humor, they take control of the narrative. They twist the situation to make you feel inferior, unimportant, and less than others. They seek to elevate themselves by lowering you, to make themselves feel superior by pushing you down. It's a form of power play. And it's not just about the words or the moment itself, it's about the lasting effects it has on you. The wound isn't just physical, it's emotional, psychological, and spiritual. The emotional aftermath lingers, gnawing at your confidence, your sense of belonging, and your belief in your worth. You start to second-guess yourself, questioning every little thing you say or do, wondering if others are secretly mocking you, judging you, or looking down on you. The worst part is realizing that someone you trusted to protect your dignity, someone you opened up to, chose to exploit your vulnerability for their gain. They may not even realize the depth of their actions, but the harm is real. And that's the thing with public humiliation. It doesn't just affect you in the moment. It leaves an imprint on your heart. It plants seeds of self-doubt and insecurity that can take years to uproot. The emotional scars can sometimes be harder to heal than the physical ones. Because when someone chooses to belittle you in front of others, they don't just damage your reputation, they damage the way you see yourself. They make you question your value, your worth, and your place in the world. They make you feel like you're not enough. In the end, it's not just the ridicule that hurts. It's the realization that someone you trusted, someone you thought would stand by you, would never intentionally hurt you, is the very person who chose to humiliate you in the worst possible way. And that feeling of betrayal is something that sticks with you far longer than any laugh or comment. It can take years to rebuild what was torn down, and sometimes, even with time, the shadows of that humiliation can linger, haunting your self-esteem and the way you navigate your relationships moving forward. What hurts most is knowing that your dignity was taken from you, not by someone who doesn't care, but by someone who you thought cared most. 4. Conditional love. Conditional love is one of the most insidious and heartbreaking dynamics that can exist within a relationship, and yet, it is something many of us encounter, often without fully realizing its damaging effects until it's too late. When love comes with conditions, it loses its purity, its essence. Instead of being something given freely, without expectations or limitations, it becomes a transactional arrangement. Love, which should be a warm, unconditional embrace, turns into a cold, calculated exchange, where your worth is constantly measured against someone else's rigid standards. It's as though your very existence and who you are as a person are constantly on trial, subject to the whims and demands of others. This can be incredibly painful because it teaches you that your value is never truly fixed. It is always conditional, contingent on whether you meet the ever-changing, sometimes arbitrary, requirements of another person. In my own life, I've seen how devastating conditional love can be, and the emotional scars it leaves behind. I've witnessed loved ones suffer because they were made to feel inadequate, unloved, or unseen unless they could prove their worth over and over again. This kind of love brings with it an unbearable weight. It fills your heart with a sense of uncertainty, a nagging fear that no matter how much you give, how much you try, it will never be enough. It creates an endless cycle of self-doubt, where you constantly second-guess your actions, your choices, and your worth. You start questioning if you're worthy of love at all, simply because you're never given it without the strings attached. I know how soul-crushing it can feel to live under the constant pressure of someone else's expectations, feeling as though your self-worth is directly tied to your ability to meet those expectations. It leads to a dangerous kind of emotional depletion, where you give so much of yourself to satisfy the needs of others, but are left feeling empty, overlooked, and unloved when it doesn't measure up to their standards. The fear of failure in these relationships becomes so overwhelming that it starts to define you. Instead of walking through life with confidence and a sense of inner peace, you tiptoe around, afraid of making a wrong move, afraid of disappointing the very people you care about most. That fear breeds isolation, because deep down, you start to believe that the real you isn't good enough, that you have to change, pretend, or contort yourself into something else to be loved. It's exhausting, demoralizing, and can easily erode your mental and emotional well-being. Real love, though, is something altogether different. True, unconditional love is the most beautiful thing in the world. It's a love that doesn't require perfection, that doesn't set impossible standards or try to make you fit into someone else's mold. It's a love that accepts you as you are, flaws and all. It is unwavering and reliable, standing beside you even when you stumble, when you fall short, or when you're not at your best. This is the kind of love that should be the foundation of every relationship. Love that gives without counting, that supports without demanding, and that sees the full beauty of you, not just the parts that meet someone else's expectations. It's the kind of love that allows you to be vulnerable, to make mistakes, and to grow, without the fear that you'll lose the love you've been given if you don't meet some impossible standard. This kind of love fills you up instead of draining you. It frees you from the burden of having to prove yourself and instead allows you to exist as you are. You're not constantly measuring yourself against some ideal, some perfect version of yourself, because you realize that you are already worthy, just as you are. True love brings peace, security, and a deep sense of belonging. It nurtures growth, not by demanding perfection but by encouraging personal development, embracing the flaws and struggles along the way. It tells you, I love you, not because of who you are when you're perfect, but because you are perfectly you. That, in my opinion, is the only kind of love worth having. The kind that helps you build your life on the solid ground of acceptance and understanding, where you are loved not for what you can do or how well you perform, but because you simply exist and that's enough. 5. Broken promises. A promise is more than a simple utterance. It's a deep, heartfelt commitment that binds two people together in a relationship built on trust and mutual respect. When someone makes a promise, they are saying, "I'm here for you. You can count on me. My word is my bond, and I will stand by you." It's a sense of safety, knowing that when things get tough, the person you trust will show up, honor their word, and not let you down. This is the beauty of a promise. It's a foundation that holds everything together, providing both emotional security and stability. But what happens when that trust is broken? When someone repeatedly breaks their promises, it's not just a matter of disappointment. It goes much deeper. It feels like the very ground beneath your feet starts to crack. Each broken promise is like a small stone chipping away at the walls you've carefully built around your heart, leaving you exposed and vulnerable. It's not just a broken commitment. It's a betrayal of the highest order, one that undermines everything you thought you knew about the relationship. It's the moment when you realize that the person you once believed in, the person you trusted with your most intimate thoughts and feelings, no longer values you enough to keep their word. Broken promises don't just sting, they wound you to your core. They make you question everything. Was I not enough? Did my feelings not matter? The repeated failures to keep their word reveal a deep lack of respect, not just for you, but for the very concept of truth. Every time someone breaks a promise, it's as if they're telling you that you don't deserve their honesty, that your trust isn't worthy of protection. It's a heartbreaking realization because promises are the very glue that holds relationships together. When that glue is ripped apart, what's left? You're left standing there, wondering if anything was ever real, if the connection you shared was just a facade, a fleeting illusion. I've come to believe that broken promises are one of the most painful betrayals a person can experience. They cut deeper than any physical wound because they target the heart and soul. A betrayal of trust is something that lingers long after the words have been spoken. It's a betrayal of your faith in that person, your belief in their sincerity, and your willingness to open yourself up to love and vulnerability. Trust, once broken, is incredibly difficult to rebuild. The cracks may be covered up, but the scar will remain, and the emotional toll it takes is something that can haunt you for years. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. What's truly heartbreaking is the emotional erosion that comes with repeated broken promises. Each time it happens, a little part of you dies inside, not because of the promise itself, but because of what it represents. A failure to honor you, a disregard for your worth. It chips away at your self-esteem and leaves you wondering if you were ever truly valued. You start to feel like your emotions are expendable, like your need for consistency and honesty is not worth the effort. And no matter how many times you try to forgive, each broken promise leaves a piece of your heart further removed from the person you once trusted, until the emotional distance becomes irreparable. In my view, broken promises are more than just missed opportunities. They are silent declarations that, despite everything, you are not a priority. You are not worth their time, their effort, or their word. It's a painful realization, one that forces you to face the truth that perhaps the relationship wasn't as solid as you once thought, and that the trust you so desperately wanted to believe in was never really there in the first place. And when this happens, I believe that a part of you starts to die, not physically, but emotionally. It's as though your ability to believe in others, to trust in the goodness of people, becomes tarnished. That lingering pain from betrayal doesn't just disappear with time. It stays with you, echoing through future relationships, making you cautious and guarded, unsure whether you can ever truly trust again. The toll of broken promises is not something that can be easily repaired, and honestly, I think it's something that may never truly heal. It's a scar that stays with you, forever reminding you of the betrayal and of how fragile trust is. The emotional scars may fade with time, but the memory of being let down, of realizing that someone chose to break their word instead of honoring you, stays with you forever. 6. Neglect. Neglect is one of the most heartbreaking and insidious forms of emotional harm, and it often goes unnoticed until it has already caused profound damage. It's not a sudden, explosive event, like an argument or betrayal. It's a gradual, almost imperceptible erosion of care and attention. It creeps in quietly, often without warning, as the person you care about slowly withdraws their emotional energy from you. At first, it may seem like just a minor shift, a fleeting moment where they seem distracted or distant, but over time, it becomes painfully clear that something essential is missing. The small acts of kindness, the shared moments of connection, the genuine interest in your day, those things begin to fade away. The subtle nature of neglect makes it even more excruciating because it's hard to pinpoint exactly when it started. There's no loud, definitive moment that signals the end of their emotional investment. Instead, it's a slow unraveling that leaves you questioning everything. You might notice that they stop checking in on you, stop asking how you're feeling, or stop being there for you when you need them the most. It's as if, one by one, the threads that once bound you together begin to loosen. They become less emotionally available, no longer taking the time to connect with you on a deeper level, to engage in meaningful conversations, or to offer the support you once relied on. What once felt like a vibrant and fulfilling relationship now feels like a hollow shell, with the person on the other side feeling more like a stranger than someone who truly cares about you. As time goes on, neglect leaves you questioning your worth. You start to wonder if you've somehow become invisible to them. When someone stops showing up for you, it's as if you no longer matter to them in the way you once did. The feeling of being overlooked, ignored, or forgotten can eat away at your self-esteem and self-worth. You begin to ask yourself painful questions. What did I do wrong? Why don't they care about me anymore? Was I ever truly important to them? The emotional toll of neglect is exhausting. It leaves you feeling small, insignificant, and utterly alone, even when you're physically surrounded by others. You're left longing for the connection that once brought you joy, and feeling like you're grasping at something that's slowly slipping away from your fingers. What makes neglect even more agonizing is that, unlike an argument or a confrontation, there's no closure, no resolution. There's no chance to talk things through, to understand why the connection is weakening. It's as if the relationship itself is slowly disappearing, and you're left to wonder whether it was ever as real as you once believed. The longer it goes on, the more difficult it becomes to believe that anything can be repaired. It's like watching someone you love drift further and further away from you, while you remain rooted in the same place, unable to reach them or bring them back. And in this space of emotional distance, it's easy to question whether they ever truly cared for you the way you cared for them. You may start to feel as if you were just a placeholder in their life, someone to fill a role until they no longer needed you or were too preoccupied to notice your absence. Neglect is emotionally devastating because it's not about one single, dramatic event. It's about the absence of care, the absence of attention, and the gradual realization that you've been left behind. It's about the painful awareness that someone who once seemed so invested in you, who once gave you their love and time so freely, has slowly pulled away, leaving you in a state of emotional isolation. The silence becomes deafening, the emotional distance almost unbearable. It leaves you longing for the love and presence that once existed but has since disappeared. It's the slow death of a relationship that leaves scars deeper than most people realize, and it can take an immense amount of strength and healing to ever truly recover from. 7. Envy. Envy is undoubtedly one of the most destructive and corrosive emotions that can silently take root in our hearts, causing immense harm to both ourselves and others. It often begins innocently, lurking quietly beneath the surface, and can go unnoticed for a long time. At first, it may appear as harmless jealousy or a passing feeling of frustration when we see someone else succeed, but it doesn't stay that way. Envy is cunning. It starts small, as a thought or a fleeting glance, but it grows, quietly feeding on our insecurities, fears, and desires. If left unchecked, it becomes a dangerous force, slowly creeping into our thoughts and relationships, quietly poisoning everything in its path. One of the most insidious aspects of envy is its ability to disguise itself, making it almost impossible to recognize until it has already done its damage. Often, envy will mask itself as criticism, what we might call constructive feedback or concern. In reality, it's just a thinly veiled attempt to undermine someone else's success to make ourselves feel better. The envious person may pretend to be indifferent, even congratulatory, but their true feelings are far from warm. They may say, "Oh, that's nice for them," while in the back of their minds, resentment is slowly festering. It's easy to brush off these feelings as mere frustration, but the truth is, they're rooted in something much deeper and more toxic, an inability to handle the success or happiness of others without feeling threatened. The root of envy is not, as some might think, about competition. It isn't about fearing that the other person will overpower us or take something away from us. In truth, envy emerges from a much more painful place, an internal struggle, a profound feeling of inadequacy. It comes from a place where the envious person feels stuck, unable to move forward or achieve what they long for. The success or happiness of others shines a light on their own perceived failures or stagnation, and rather than feeling inspired or motivated, they are crushed under the weight of comparison. It's a bitter feeling, this constant measuring of our worth against others, constantly coming up short, no matter how hard we try. Envy's effects go far beyond just the internal turmoil it causes. It deeply impacts our relationships with others, often in ways we don't even realize until it's too late. Relationships that once seemed strong can become strained, as envy seeps into conversations, actions, and even silence. A person who feels envious may start to distance themselves from others, withdrawing emotionally, as though they are protecting themselves from the pain of seeing someone else do well. Alternatively, they might engage in passive-aggressive behavior, subtly undermining the success of others with backhanded compliments or snide remarks. They may say, "Wow, you've come a long way. Did you do that all by yourself?" Or, "I never would have expected that from someone like you." These kinds of remarks seem innocent, even polite, but underneath, they are a weapon designed to make the other person feel small. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. What makes envy even more toxic is that it doesn't just harm the person being envied. It poisons the entire relationship. Friendships, once strong, can start to fracture under the weight of hidden resentment. A colleague who once celebrated your achievements with you might now avoid your success altogether, perhaps even distancing themselves from you to protect themselves from the constant reminder of their own perceived shortcomings. The subtle sabotage that envy can lead to can be devastating, whether it's whispering doubts to others, spreading rumors, or failing to support the person who is succeeding. The envious person's desire to tear someone else down becomes all-consuming, even to the point where they lose sight of their values and integrity. In the worst cases, envy can destroy families. Siblings who once shared everything can find themselves at odds, competing for the affection and approval of their parents or other relatives. The painful truth is that envy often thrives in situations where love and affection are scarce or divided, where one person's success becomes another's perceived failure. This is especially true when envy is compounded by unresolved family issues or long-standing feelings of inadequacy. It can tear apart relationships that should be based on support, love, and mutual respect. But perhaps the most painful consequence of envy is what it does to the person who harbors it. While it may start as a mere feeling of discomfort, it soon turns into something far more sinister: resentment. Resentment that can sour even the most innocuous interactions. The envious person may begin to feel disconnected from the world around them, unable to share in the joy of others. Where once there was celebration and happiness, there's now only bitterness and comparison. Every success, every achievement, becomes a painful reminder of what they feel they lack. Envy eats away at their peace of mind, creating a constant sense of discontent. And over time, this emotional poison becomes harder and harder to remove, building walls between the envious person and the world, isolating them in a sea of negativity. The truth is, envy is not just a fleeting emotion. It is a powerful force that, if not addressed, can completely change the trajectory of one's life. It holds the potential to destroy relationships, destroy self-esteem, and destroy our ability to enjoy life as it is. When we allow envy to take root, we lose our capacity to appreciate what we have, to celebrate the successes of others, and ultimately to live in peace with ourselves. I believe that the antidote to envy is gratitude. When we focus on what we have, on our blessings, our progress, and the things that make us unique, we begin to see the world differently. We realize that there is enough success, enough love, enough happiness to go around. We no longer feel the need to tear others down to elevate ourselves. Instead, we can find joy in the success of others, knowing that their triumphs don't diminish our own. In the end, envy only holds power over us when we let it. The key is to recognize it, confront it, and release it, choosing instead to live with an open heart and a spirit of appreciation. Thank you so much for joining me today as we explored the powerful and often destructive force of envy. I hope this video has given you a deeper understanding of how envy can silently invade our hearts and relationships, and how it's up to us to guard against it with self-awareness, compassion, and gratitude. So, what have you learned so far? What stood out to you the most? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please share in the comments below one thing you've learned from this video that you plan to bring into your own life and practice moving forward. Remember, we all have the power to choose peace over resentment, and your journey toward emotional freedom starts with simple yet powerful steps. If you like this video, don't forget to leave your comment below, and make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Together, we can build a supportive community where we uplift each other and grow with intention. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.